Hello and welcome to Margaritas with Marcy. I'm Marcy and this is my margarita. What's that? Oh yes, it is orange today because it's a mango margarita. Mangoes are in season right now and the trees here are just full of them. They just drop on the ground everywhere. People are trying to get rid of them. Mangoes are like the zucchinis of Mexico. People literally leave them on people's doorsteps, ring the doorbell and run away. But what I do is I peel them, I puree them, and then I take the puree and I put it in ice cube trays, freeze that all up, put them in a Ziploc bag, and they are ready to go for your margaritas. Very delicious. Thank you for joining me as I share my experience of living in Loreto, Mexico on the Baja California Peninsula and give observations and opinions on life in general. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and leave comments below. What would you like to see in future videos? In the last video, I gave a little history of the town of Loreto, including a photo montage with scenes from the area. I hope you enjoyed that. This time I'm going to dive into how I chose Loreto from among all the amazing places to live in Mexico. Every expat or snowbird in Mexico will swear that their location is the best. Be it mountainous San Miguel de Allende, which has the largest expat population in Mexico, lakeside Ajijic, with the second largest expat population, coastal and trendy Sayulita or Cancun, or lovely Guadalajara or Mexico City, just to name a few. Mexico has so many beautiful places to live. But first, why Mexico? I've lived on 4 continents and I've traveled widely, so I had a pretty good idea of what was out there. I'd love to live in Ireland, but the weather pretty much sucks, it's expensive, and as an American, it's nearly impossible to qualify for residency. No place is perfect, but in a perfect world, one should have 2 or 3 residences scattered around the globe. When I win the lottery. Till then. Mexico has a lower cost of living than the United States. It's drivable from the United States. It has lots of beaches with great weather, and getting permanent residency is relatively painless. Mexico also has a rich cultural heritage, great art, food, and music. Coming from rainy Washington State, I've always dreamed of living someplace where I could put on shorts and sandals every day and not have to check the damn weather forecast to see if I needed to wear socks with my sandals. When I told people I was moving to Mexico, the first response was usually, "Isn't it dangerous?" So let's address that right off. Yes, there is cartel violence here, unfortunately, and it is possible to get caught in the crossfire. Cartel-controlled towns are well known and easily avoided, and not the places expats want to live anyway. But you know what they don't have in Mexico? Children getting gunned down in their classrooms, bombs exploding at festivals, and homeless people living in tents on the streets and in city parks. That's how people in other countries see the United States. As a journalist, I tell people that the reason you hear about Americans being kidnapped and killed in Mexico is because it's unusual. It's not the norm. That's why it's news. Crime here, even in small towns, tends to be crimes of opportunity, theft of things that are not secured and easy to sell. Side view car mirrors and cell phones are 2 of the top items to steal. I started visiting Mexico about 5 years ago. I thought, I could live here. Shrimp tacos, great weather, handsome men, margaritas, what's not to love? 4 years ago, I spent 9 months living in Guadalajara and Chapala, testing the waters and cementing my decision to move here. Although I ruled out either of those locations. Guadalajara, I just didn't want to live in a big city. Lake Chapala, Ajijic, just too many expats. I don't want to live amongst them like that. I then moved back to the States, to Las Vegas, where I worked my butt off as an Uber driver, counting the days until I could move to Mexico for good. During that time, I visited Mexico as often as possible, checking out different options for my future home. I also watched a ton of Moving to Mexico YouTubes and joined several local and national Facebook groups dedicated to living in Mexico. It's a good way to get the pulse of a community and to ask questions. There are a lot of ways to figure out where to live in Mexico, from spreadsheets and moving around the country to throwing a dart at a map. My method was to make a mental list of must-haves, tops of which was a beach. The beach is my happy place. I love the gentle susurrations of the sea. I love to even say that, susurrations of the sea. You can just hear the waves lapping on the shore. But not just any beach, it had to have a gentle surf, shallow pitch for easy walking, and hard-packed sand, not rocks or gravel. I imagine snorkeling, kayaking, and whale watching. I imagined a town square with a quaint church where people could mingle and stroll in the cool of the evening, children playing without fear of being kidnapped, a small community that felt safe. Good medical facilities were also important. Aging is not for the young. From broken hips to heart attacks and stepping on pop-tops, retirement is not for the weak. Also another reason for being close to an international airport should you need to be evacuated. Medical and dental care is far cheaper here than in the US, and just as good. You can get your teeth capped and your tummy tucked for a fraction of the cost here. And the location had to be within reasonable driving distance from the US border. You can get to the border at Mexicali in one long day from Loreto, but most people do it in 2 shorter chunks. Or take as long as you want and enjoy the beautiful beaches and scenery along the way. But in addition to practical concerns, it had to feel right. And that you can only tell by being there. I took my first exploratory trip to Loreto in October of 2022, with an easy 3-day drive from Las Vegas. Thanks to the lovely Facebook group Voices of Loreto, I'd already made friends and even found a place to volunteer. After the first day here, I knew this was it. Loreto ticked all the boxes. Well, almost all the boxes, but more on that in another video. So I went back to Vegas, worked through New Year's Eve, and on January 2nd, packed up my car and headed to my new home. Big shout out to my co-pilot John, who is always up for adventuring with me. I've been here for 8 months now, and I'm still happy with my decision. And I just got my Residente Temporal card, so I'm on track for permanent residency in 4 years. You're all invited to the party. The wildlife here is always amazing. In the next video, I'll talk about the cost of living here, the rental and real estate market, and some of the challenges of living in paradise. Please be sure to check out my other videos, like and subscribe, and also check out my Margaritas with Marcy Facebook page. Please leave your comments there and let me know what you'd like to see or know about living in Mexico. As always, thanks for watching and see you soon.